All right.
What's up? What's up, everyone? How y'all doing?
Hello, how's it
What
going?
up?
My dudes,
What's
back
up, guys?
again.
I told you we're going to try to do this monthly. It's hard to do it more than that, though, because we all have such different schedules that finding a time to get us all in one place is nearly impossible, I feel like.
And I feel like
Yeah,
once a month is actually amazing that we can all four get on at the same time.
Yeah, I somehow triple booked myself for this right now. So out in his shed, banished from that house at the moment.
How's everyone doing out there? Can you hear us, first of all?
Yes.
Throw stuff in the chat if you can hear us. I don't know if they can.
Still just
Hello to the people. How many people we got watching right now?
I think it says 18. I don't know if they can hear us.
18 watching. Yeah, I just started. I'm like pretty far behind.
How far back you think?
Okay, cool. I always forget there's the delay.
Yeah, and it's way.
And so I asked
It's way longer than you think. Did we? I hope we set it to ultra low latency, but I doubt we did.
I do
Well,
not know.
it will give us the best stream quality the more delayed it is.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true.
Cool. I think it's like over 5 seconds.
5 seconds, that's nothing. We're all right.
It feels like forever when you're
It
streaming.
does. You're just sitting there like, I'm waiting for it to happen. Yeah, okay.
So
volume on everybody's
we're
good.
live right now, right? So
all right. Yeah, okay. So, well, Hove, you want to talk to us about the housekeeping things that we've got?
Yeah. So the first thing we wanted to do was talk about how we opened up a new tier to our membership levels. So now we have a tier called the Trading Tribe, which is a lower tier at 149. And it's a good entry point for those of you that are just self-starters and want to build a solid foundation to the markets and crypto trading and also stock trading as well. The membership gives you access to pretty much the same stuff. Let me pull that up for you real quick. You can see it's on the left-hand side here, the Trading Tribe. So you get access to the Discord community, the Bitcoin, crypto, stocks, community updates, our live trading insights, our market mentors daily chart channel, which is basically just a channel of the team's charts that the day trading channel gets a little busy. And so oftentimes our charts will get lost in the noise. So we put them in the team charts channel to make them easy for you guys to find. You also get the weekly market outlooks that we're going to do a lot more with that. Daily market updates, the trading insights hub, which is kind of the what are you watching channel, which just means like, hey, what are you guys looking at that we might not have seen, and we'll take a look at it. And then the Elliott Wave cheat sheets and the support. So it's just another entry point that you won't get access to the educational content, but some of you will have gone through the educational stuff and might not want to pay that $299 a month. So you can downgrade your account to that 149 level and still have access to the community. Yeah, that's pretty much it for that.
Now, we do need to make a note here. There should be an asterisk after the 24-hour. It's 24 hours. We'll get back to you. No, just it's so we really are all on different time frames. We got somebody in just about every major time zone, Euro, Asia, and America. But we all do have lives outside of this. And so we are not going to ignore you ever, but it may not be an immediate response. So if you do need anything, though, just shoot us a message. We got a support channel and we can help you out with any questions about subscribing. It would never have a question about cancellations. Anything else you can think of, though, we can help you with.
Yeah. And I think it's important to also put out there that we still have our higher tier availability, which also is, if I'm not wrong here, more access to us, right? As you know,
so like the trading tribe, you're not going to get any access to the educational stuff. So that means like you won't be able to hit us up with any trading questions, whether that's EW or the Monty Forks or options.
Risk reward.
Yeah, that's
management.
all going to be reserved for that market masters level, which is all the educational value that you get there. And that means you get that more one-on-one time like you have been seeing for our current members. So,
and we do still have some alpha investors, which used to be called legends, which is like not one-on-one, but like 5-on-1. You get all of us in a group chat, and we can help coach you individually if it's appropriate, or with other legends, or with the whole Discord, just kind of depending on what kind of situation you're dealing with, or how much discretion is necessary. If it's something everybody can learn from, we're probably going to try to talk about it with everybody. If it's something that just applies to you, we'll hash it out, get you fixed up, and try to give you the best advice we can. But it is not investing advice; it is educational advice.
And that's one of the cool parts about that. So the legends are now alpha investors. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. But there's that room. There's also a room like they were saying. We have, as soon as you're at that tier, you have opened up DMs to us direct, where all the whole team is in a DM with you. But this other component that we put in there, where everybody at that tier has a channel, that has actually been a pretty nice little.
It's a good perk for them. You are not missing out on anything if you don't have it. Like, it's not like you're a second class citizen.
Kind of more serious.
Yeah, everybody who spent that kind of money on it, which it is an investment, they're there to trade and to learn and to they're there to get paid. And that's those are the kind of people we love.
Our most recent one, James, he started about a month ago, and his whole portfolio is already over 30%. He's like crushing it.
Yeah, and what's crazy is he's not even trading what we're looking at typically. So he's out of HK, and he's looking at a bunch of Chinese stocks and a lot of traditional stuff. Most of our base is crypto. He's there too, but yeah, that's one of those things that tier is just, it's nice for. A lot of options talk in that main room with Erie's heading that up, and yeah, that's that room is actually, I like that room.
But don't feel like you have to do that or you're missing out on like what makes us worthwhile. So it is just a really nice perk for them. And it has actually helped me in several, find some trades that we wouldn't see otherwise. And I don't know, it's fun. It's a nice little room. It's kind of more personal, I guess, but
it makes me want to set up a Chinese brokerage account. That's for sure.
I know. And which I believe Interactive Brokers will give you access to the Hong Kong market. Maybe not the China market, but Hong Kong, you can still trade on Interactive Brokers.
Some of those are double listed too.
But that's true. You can find them elsewhere. All right. So what do we, let's see.
We also have a couple other things that we're working on. We can't announce them quite yet, but within the next couple of weeks, we have a few things that I think you guys are going to really enjoy, and it's going to help you guys. We just can't say exactly what they are yet because we need to work out all the details, but they are pretty sweet in my opinion.
Yes. And really with the goal of making it more feasible for more of you to get involved with us in a more intimate way rather than just YouTube. Or, I mean, if you're already a member, great. We love you. We're not sending you anywhere. We're going to continue to take great care of you. But, we want to take care of more people. We've got the capacity for it. And I think there's a lot to be taught, a lot to learn, a lot of money to be made. So we're trying to grow and make things better for you guys.
Yeah. So Alejo asked, is our strategy based off Elliott wave counts? Elliott wave has a decent standing in my playbook and Toot's playbook and Mecca's, and Erie and Monty also use it, but it's not the only tool in our tool belt. We use different types of technical analysis to find confluence areas for high probability trades. So while we use Elliott wave as a guide to our strategy, it's not the only thing we use because it's hard to trade just Elliott waves. We have to combine fibs, fib projections, geometry, channels, trend lines. We use all of the good stuff, but we find a picture that paints a usually decent entry and exit point. So just like with any trading strategy, it's not perfect, but we do our best to find those high probability setups.
Yeah, and I think Alea's got, I mean, that's an excellent question and like a loaded one too, because is it based on Elliott wave? Like Toots, I would say, yes, he is based on Elliott wave. You are more in the middle, I feel like. And me and Monty are down on the other end where it's like, I mean, honestly, I'm an extremely competent Elliott wave person, but I just, I don't formally do it that much. I see what's happening just looking at a chart, and then I'm using those other geometry mostly for me. And we also have very different trading time frames, I guess. Like I trade on the 1 minute mostly for day trades and traditionals. And some of you guys are doing swing trades and cryptos, or I mean, we're all diversified, but what we focus on and make trades daily on varies pretty dramatically.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all have a little bit of our own style, right? So we all have the same backgrounds, and that's the way that we sort of preach it to you guys, is to take these components and then build your personal style, because trading is a very personal thing, you know, because it has to fit into your life. It has to fit into the way that your brain is wired. And, you know, this component may work a certain way for you, whereas it works a different way for me. And, but, you know, we kind of show you exactly what we do, each of us, and it's all a little different. And, you know, maybe they get in because they see like, oh, I love the way Hove's doing something. And then they see that, oh, you know, I like this thing that Erie's doing. And maybe you start to migrate to do sort of TA that way. It's, you know, this isn't about come in here, learn this system, and, you know, that's all. It's not just point A to point B. There's a very personal building here. And that's what we're more like coaches in that aspect.
We've got a guy who's been with us for years who doesn't really do Elliott wave, for lack of a better way to put it. Like he understands it and can converse in it, but he doesn't do it. He doesn't really like base any of his trades off of that. He's very successful. So, I mean, it is just a part of what we do. And a lot of it is who you are, what you like, and how you want to trade is going to influence what style and system you use. So excellent question. Thank you.
One thing I did want to get out there is that I've been, you know, I started the series, just we're doing housekeeping. Let me get out of the way and then we'll get into the charts. Where, you know, my passion is teaching Elliott wave and, you know, everything that I do, but I love this theory and working on an advanced theory. Already put one video out. And to me, it's the most important educational video that exists for Elliott wave, you know. No flex there, but big flex, I guess. But yeah. It's every pattern in depth and all the details, how to use it in your trading, how to actually actionably use these patterns where, you know, because over the years of teaching this, you know, 6 years now, I've come a long way and seen a lot of people, taught a lot of people, and I know the flaws in the way that people want to use the theory and that they, you know, would really be better suited to use it. Anyway, the series is every pattern in depth. Been working on that. Would have recorded and released one this week, but I don't know if you can hear in my voice. I'm a little under the weather, and I did one with a cold, and I'd rather not have that in permanence. So been working on a few. We're gonna basically, you know, write flats, triangles. Those videos are ready to roll as soon as I can record them. And those probably over the next couple of months, all of those will be out, and then we'll move on to the next series. But yeah, a lot of high-end educational content on the way.
You guys are always sick.
All right.
Ollie, I'll get to XRP at some point today, so that'll definitely be coming. What up,
stay
Cobra?
tuned.
Yeah.
What do we want to roll to first? Do we want to roll with some traditional markets, indexes, Bitcoin? What are you guys feeling?
I don't know. What do you?
What kind of homework have we actually done? What do we actually have lines on right now? That's the question.
I got lines on everything.
Excellent.
You know
lines
what?
on everything.
I can. Pepe is a big one right now, so I can.
You know what? That's hot.
Pepe.
Yeah, let's look at Pepe. Forget the indexes and things that might.
Cool.
You know, we don't have Great Depression 2.0 coming. We'll just look at Pepe.
So this is what I'm looking at for Pepe. I mean, way back here, I said, be careful. It's now down 70-something%. If you're not following my Twitter, make sure you do that at Sensei Hove. I called this 117 level at the same time. It came down. It's hit our support level, which is also our Monty zone. This is what I'm seeing for it. I think we're probably going to make another move down to this 13.5 level, maybe even lower, and retest that support before moving up to that 27 level. And while this can be just that ABC, our bread and butter is that C3 wave. So this could easily be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and going up there. But just as we always do, this is that juicy C3 trade. And what will tell us what's going on is if we break out of this channel to the upside, it would make me lean more towards a 3 than a C. And then likely those new highs are coming. But for now, move down into that 135, maybe sub 135 level. It could even get down to this lower channel line, but this looks like a decent impulse off the low, and now it's a bunch of overlapping chop, which to me implies that it's corrective. So a move down into that support would be a nice spot for a little, I guess I won't say little swing trade, but
yeah, it'll be a significant
move 100%
based on this
trade.
This is something I don't pull out really often, but I think it actually pops into relevance here. The old fib time tool. How do you feel about that, Hove? Do you use that? I don't use it often, but when I do, it can be helpful.
Yeah, I do use it on occasion. I don't use it all the time, kind of like you said.
Because I actually just threw it up on here. And so from the origin of this coin to the all-time high and then placed there, that's, you can show it to everybody else. But we kind of landed the 1.382 on that low because I thought there was no way this would be like a completed correction for the whole thing. But shit. I think I just lost.
No, I hear you.
Still hear me, guys? Okay,
Yep.
I just said Zoom quit unexpectedly, so that's not cool. Maybe my videos just died.
To do that. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, your video's down, but
okay.
Still hear you.
Yeah. There it was. There, just restarted all together on me.
Yeah,
anyway,
we still hear you.
That was what I was talking about. The 1.382 is right there at the bottom of that initial move down that I would say is an A wave, but there's a real possibility that it's maybe a double zigzag that is completed there. So we could be in a big move here.
I was looking at this as a potential like impulse, which is there.
That's my instinct as well.
That would be pretty low. That would mean eventually, once this ABC completes to the upside, you're seeing back to origin prices.
But that's
possibly
not too shocking for a pump and dump kind of.
No.
And maybe this isn't a pump and dump. I don't know anything about Pepe, but I'm just going by the name, which as cool as it is doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in the founders.
I asked this on Twitter, but is there any actual utility? And that's what'll tell you the price action will be.
There's our price action right there. We know that that's the truth. So do not get caught. Do not get caught when it does that, no matter what. You see that trend line that he's got on the bottom? That's not the channel. Do not hold a single coin below that.
Yeah. That's no bueno.
But anyway, there's money to be made in this thing right now for sure. I agree with you.
It's wild when it moves. I was watching it and I posted a trade last week, or basically, I guess, a speed fan, and it just bounced barely, and it was 22%. And I was just like, what? Like, it's so liquid when it moves.
And it looks like nothing happened.
Right. It looks like nothing, but it was 22%, and it was in like an hour. And it was, it's nuts. When it moves, it moves. I'm hoping we get a sweep of the low into 96 and then straight to 33.
Oh, dang. So lower than here you're talking about.
Yeah, I think just a sweep, create a little bit of liquidity into a Monty pull MZ and off to the zero line.
Damn.
Yeah, I really don't expect new highs from this thing. Like, no matter what it looks like, we've got a 1, 2, 3 in play. I mean, maybe that's me not following the TA, but just it's a shit coin, and that's how shit coins work.
Yeah, just knowing the history of coins that have done exactly what this one is
they
doing.
do not launch off to like they aren't going to go 3 times that 40,000 sat price, anytime soon.
Yeah. If this scenario that you see on Hope's chart plays out, personally, as a trader, thank the lucky stars you got your C. Take your profit, in my opinion. Whenever this thing offers great profit, I'm happy to take it. Like, what were we talking about the other night in our meeting?
There we go.
Remember what we were talking about the other?
Yes, that's exactly what it's going to look like. No, I do not know what you. I mean, probably, but I don't know what you're talking about there.
How somebody had posted on Twitter that, if you just bought Pepe here.
Oh yes, yes, exactly. Yeah, so the
like
comment
$1 billion.
The comment was if you basically bought the lows on anything, you could be a multimillionaire off of $500. And yes, that's true, but you would have ridden it to hundreds of thousands of dollars of gains and losses, no matter whether it's Bitcoin from like 10 years ago or Pepe from 2 months ago or whatever. You pretty much have to be in a coma the entire time, or you will sell either when you're up huge or when you're down huge, and you're not going to hold it the whole time. So don't even pretend you will. Take your money.
Hold to $1 million. Then hold down to 200.
That's exactly what you will do. You just won't do it. Like, it never happens. You hit $1 million, and when you're down to 500, everybody chickens out. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. It's just human nature.
I mean, if you put $500 and it gave you $1 million,
you're an idiot.
You're ready to go. There's no way you're gonna be like, nah, I'm holding on for higher.
You jumped out at $10,000 because that's an insane win. But
we all know plenty of people in crypto who have done that. So
do we know anybody? Do we know anybody in this group?
know plenty of people.
I still do it. I can't help it. I can't get over it, Monty. I'm sorry. One day I will. One day when we're all multimillionaires off of Pepe, we will forget about that.
No, I'll never forget about it.
You learned your lesson. No, dude. So again, we talk shit to each other because Monty made some very, very profitable investments in the first Bitcoin bull run and did just what we all talked about. And what a lot of us did, we ran it up and then watched it run right back down thinking that it's going to bounce again. It is honestly, I think, why we're all such good traders now, because we screwed up so horribly originally. We're like, I am never doing that again. I got to learn what I'm doing. At least that was my motivation.
Oh yeah,
man. I mean, that's the thing about anything. I don't know. I think anything you're going to be successful at, there's a couple keys.
There's failure.
First key is you have to be dedicated, and I would say something like transform trading is a way to be dedicated and put your time and effort. So time, effort, stick with it, and be prepared to fail. There's so many failures on the way to success, and the way that's where we come from. Is not only are we good at these things, because there's a lot of people that learn them and they're good at them, but as you gain this experience and all of these failures, you can try to help truncate someone else's path so that they don't have to go through the same failures. And even with that, you're still going to have your struggles, because I've seen it so many times over. You can tell somebody, this is the way things are probably going to be, but sometimes you just have to experience it for yourself too. So don't get down on yourself for failing, but
exactly, Cobra.
And if you do,
the cost of education, that it's correct.
It is.
Yep.
So I'm going to plug myself for just a second here while I've got the live stream. If you haven't watched my video, it's the one right before this one. I'm going to be doing a series on actually making you a better trader and dealing with some of those failures and frustrations. So go check that out after the live stream if you haven't, and shoot me a message on YouTube or on Discord if you're in there, and I will help
or Twitter.
You out. For Twitter, @Erixis82. I will help each and every one of you individually, especially if you all have the same problem.
So
Toots, did you want to show your algo series for Pepe?
The one that's on my chart right now?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think it's that compelling. I only had a little bit to add to basically say that I pretty much agree with you, lockstep. Shocking. Other than, yeah, right. I will say there's one caveat that I think we're in a weird spot where it feels like from the chart and from just every experience and context of the way things have happened in the crypto market and in the S&P, which we'll get to, which is really daddy for everything, right? If you want to know which way the financial markets that we focus on here are going to move, you kind of like, that's sort of your guide, right? I think we're in a weird spot that, you know, we could, we could always go up or down, right? That's, people love to say that, but I think we're in a weird spot now where I'm personally of the belief that we could be forming a bottom before any more significant downside action on across the markets. And if that happens, you know, because this is about the time that it loves to leave us hanging, right? At the start of a potential run. That's what my base case is. It's still very much in the beginning part of that, nothing locked in, but I do believe that we are in an area that keep your head on a swivel for everything. And that's going to be a reoccurring thing on anything I talk about today, because, you know, I have downside targets just like Hope showed on this one, but I could see a potential bottoming being put in now. So just putting that out there.
Sorry, I was sending no, I heard you. I was sending stuff in the chat.
All right, just because I'm out here.
Questions.
I'm out here.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
Man, am I losing? Am I losing? Did I drop out?
No, we're good. Since you talked about the market overall, do you want to just take a look at either the ES or Bitcoin and see what your outlook is?
For me, sure. Might be good to go to you first, just because I'm on this thing. Okay. Well, one thing of importance. So talking about what I just said,
your thing keeps showing your.
Yeah. I'm totally doxed here, so I'm going to reset my IP after the stream.
I don't know. Did you guys catch that? Greg is saying one of us has a lot of background noise. I'm not sure if that's going on for everybody, or if it's maybe coming from me. I just saw that and was trying to identify it. I'm listening to a stream, but I can't hear it.
So I'll pause.
I haven't heard it.
I'll mute my mic and Craig, tell me if that's it, because I have a fan on.
I don't hear anything on our Zoom, but it could be on. I don't know. That makes me think it's.
Oh, it might be Monty's mic. Is your mic hot in the stream and not in Zoom, Monty? Probably. That's probably.
I've got it muted right now, but it's probably my GPUs. I've got it on Tornado. So
there we go. That's the one. That's the problem.
I tell you what we're going to do here, so that I'd stop doxing myself. Hope, why don't you kick it off, and I'm going to switch from TradingView application to browser, so it doesn't do that anymore.
All right.
So I'm going to stop sharing as soon as you tell me I'm good, Monty.
You're good.
Let me know when my screen's up. And do we want to cover the ES or Bitcoin first?
Let's go with the ES. I feel like it runs the show, in my opinion.
Yeah. ES, you said?
Yeah.
Cool. So it feels like for months I've been saying, if we can get a strong close above this 4,200 level, then I think we're going to carry that 4,400 level. So this is that big.
Quick. Oh, it changed it, I guess, with Tudum leaving.
I'm back on.
No,
Tudum leaving, it changed screen. So hang on.
Zoom has crashed on me like 3 times now, so I don't know if that impacted it too.
That probably is. So don't open yours anymore.
I'm back up. Nothing but pros here, boys. we're analysts and traders.
All right. Now you're good. It switched.
We're not streamers.
You would be surprised how difficult it is to have a group stream when no one is in the same place.
Yeah. So I think it's Toots is live, isn't it? Or is it me?
No, you're good now.
Okay, cool. So as I was saying, I hope everybody can see my chart now. If we can get a solid close above this $4,200 level, the next area I'm looking for that resistance is right at that 618, which is 43.63, so roughly 4,400. But what'll probably happen is a little pump like this, retest the back of this 618 before moving higher to that $4,400 level ish.
So the longer this hovers around here, I mean, I do like your little X label there for Elliott wave. I still see a triangle potentially until we get up that high and break that August, September high around 4,300. I can't help but see a triangle in progress as an X wave of some kind of correction.
You're talking more like this.
That's exactly. Yep. Exactly.
That would take forever.
It sure would.
It's already been like 84 years of sideways.
Which I do feel like this is a correction of, I mean, it's significant price action it's correcting anyway, but I mean, it could be correcting a lot of time too.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean,
down to zero.
Middle of next year.
Oh, right before the elections.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I could stretch that triangle out until right at or after the elections even.
What do you
think? Our favorite president's reelected. They'd tank the markets.
All right. So I've personally kind of thrown away, let's say, highly, for me, the way I work is everything I always say limit the bandwidth, focus on what I can find is more probable outcome that is expected. And when a certain time frame isn't showing me something that I recognize as a highly probable outcome to come from it, I just sort of put that to the side. I keep in the periphery and call it uncertain. And at this point, this price action off the lows, on the macro ES, I've pretty much put at the uncertain from an Elliott wave standpoint. And my base case on the ES and has not changed. You may know that I flipped macro bull on Bitcoin. So before I was 60-40 bear, maybe even higher at one point. Now I'm probably 60-40 bull. Nothing has changed in the expectation as far as what we've seen on the ES chart, the S&P, to change that to macro bull. But this price action is very uncertain. So at the macro level, I'm just going to call it uncertain and look at what I'm seeing so far. And we've been in an uptrend for months now. And at this point, it's not showing me anything that it's ready to die, right? We're at a key level right now. As you see, we're topping at this level once, twice, 3,
5,
4,
6, 7
5,
times,
6, 7, 8 times that we've tested this key level. We break above here with significance. It's hard to say that you don't think that that's going to maintain, right? We could easily reject here, but how many times do you guys have all heard of, that's like the first day of TA, triple top, triple bottom, if once a level is just tested, and then price does break through, then that really kicks off the auction process. So, like I said on Pepe and anything else, we're sort of at that uncertain point that if this kicks above here, things could get crazy. And it's at that point where I think a lot of traders, I don't know what the sentiment across the, those little sentiment readers you can find are, or across crypto, Twitter, whatever, are bearish or bullish. But I feel like this is an area where a lot of people would be bearish because we're coming up into a resistance. And I would just caution that it looks like one of those times that maybe we could potentially break through, but you have to remember we're at resistance. So from a trading degree, earlier, we basically have a couple long plays over the last week and a half, 2 weeks from in this area. First one from here, and then am I up?
Yeah.
Hello. Okay, I'm up. All right. So basically, we did a long from here. I'm on my laptop. I can't show it exactly, but we, in the Discord, showed perfect long from here, long out of this, even though this was sideways shit. But it was pretty obviously corrective to me. We broke to the upside, and now we're quite frankly mooning. However, we're completing what could be a zigzag to the upside. We're on the 4-hour chart. Again, macro off the table for me. We've been doing a series of 3 waves. So there's no reason to think right now that this isn't just a 3 wave. So we need to probably keep at the periphery that this could be more and keep an eye on it. But right now, those longs that I've been touting, I would say probably at this point, you want to be out of your longs, covered those, but I'm not saying to short. You could, but what is your, I like specific plays in a trade that I like to take, and we'll keep that in the Discord. But the parameter for this type of trade right here isn't a short to me. It's let's go ahead and watch. So yeah, that's kind of new news to the guys because this most recent one has played out pretty quickly, and but we have reached the upside target 2 on that one chart that I showed, where target 3 was more uncertain. Actually, I did update that this morning. I think at this point, cover longs, take a breath. and let's see what it does heading into pretty much next week at this point. However, if this does get above here, there might be some really nice dillies to trade tomorrow.
And that's the smart way to play something like this. It's had weeks, possibly a month of sideways action that is not super clear. So there's no point in forcing trades just to trade. You want to let the market present itself and give you more data so you can have a little bit more clarity to take a higher probability trade based off that new information. Because if we break out of there, it's going to give us some idea, as long as it's not another wick and sell off like it is to that pivot to the left. It's going to give us some idea of what the trend is and how we enter to get behind that trend. And we're not trying to force anything. I think that's one of the hardest things for traders in general, especially newer traders, is being okay with sitting on your hands until the market develops a little bit better for you to have an edge to get behind. Because
and then when they learn that skill, it goes the other way. They end up sitting on their hands too long
forever.
And
yeah.
So I mean, it is. I think you're right. Their initial sense is there's a trade right here all the time, and they enter everything way too soon. And then once they learn that's a mistake, then they're like overly cautious is the next level of mistakes that I start seeing.
Or like I always talk about, conflating time frames, because people say, "Oh, it's just." Price is just shit. And what do you mean price is just shit? It's just shit of the daily. It's just shit of the 1 minute, because, different time frames look totally different. And, while if I was at this perspective for this whole, what you see on my chart, there was only a few trades that showed up in the last few months, but they would have been nice. However, on the lower time frame, there's been lots of, possible entries and exits. As I just showed on, if you go look at my Twitter at Senseis, I'm updating these every day for the guys, and every day I'm showing what a movement's going to be. And, most of the time that happens. And, it's not meant to say, hey, enter here, exit here. We're not doing calls. It's you're trading this sort of map the way that it works for you. And as of right now, we've, since that Twitter vid of, I did a whole month of updates, we've had 2 more perfect with this long and this long. And now it just so happens at this time frame, and I say this time frame, but really I'm down here like at the 15, if not lower for this. And typically, like on Bitcoin, I live on the 2 minute. And so what I do see with like what Hova's saying, newer traders do is like, okay, we see Bitcoin's like, oh, it looks like it's topping at the daily. Okay, well, I'm going to try to short it on the 5 minute. 2 weeks later, when it hasn't quite topped yet and your account's empty, then it tanks. So you could just look at the degree that is showing you clarity for what you do and just trade at that degree and be happy. And, the uncertainty at that other degree is irrelevant to you. So irrelevant to me from a trading perspective, but, at a macro perspective, not necessarily making those same financial decisions, just in and out trading on the lower degree. But we are like nice little dilly here. And we could even break this top, go to the top of this channel. I would really want to break out of this channel with significance before I thought, this is really going to be something special. But it looks like we might even be putting in a reactive wave at the top. So, a bullish scenario might be that we've topped right about here, and I just look for finished patterns, but, maybe we're topping in here for a reactive type of wave, 3 to the upside. Whenever I see something like this, an extended move to 3-way to the upside, check out the flat video that's coming your way, members. The base case is that we've completed a zigzag to the top side, meaning that we're going to have a pretty, sharp downside move, but it would be corrective. This should take us to the area of the start of that 3-wave, roughly, give or take. So that could be one way that this is going to be bullish. So instead of being a zigzag, as I show here, say maybe this is some sort of 1-2-1-2 that could go in. And if you saw it in that way, where it is a sideways, it would be quite bullish. Again, like, that's that uncertainty. But right now, while there's no trade, if I saw say maybe, I don't know, 3, something like this, something like that, maybe then, we start looking at measured moves, things like that. We would be looking at longs again. Something else happens. Maybe we're looking at shorts. So, but right now we're just going to wait and see for the next the obvious setup.
I forgot that I muted my mic. There was a lot of educational content right there. You just went on.
Yeah, I do that.
All right. So what do we want to look at next? What do you have ready for us to so you can just take over and then I'll look at the same chart.
What do you want? Where do you want to go?
That's the big boy.
Well,
what about
we could
Bitcoin? Yeah, I mean, seems like those are the ones that drive the market that most people are wanting to know about. Unless you've got something else to hit.
Well, I said we were going to cover Bitcoin
at the end. I'm sorry,
gold. No, it doesn't matter when. Bitcoin, gold, and XRP still from like just what people were asking about.
I gotcha.
So I don't know what Toots has ready to go.
I don't have gold or XRP. I got Bitcoin.
Okay. Bitcoin.
All right. So we're going to talk, I guess, a few different degrees here. One thing that was in and actually got me into a long that didn't work out is if you look at the CME chart, which is where we'll just say price discovery is supposedly happens. And now we're moving, of course. But where price discovery normally happens, we have what appears to be an impulse off this low. Whereas if you go to the index chart, of course, this is 24/7. This is, 24/5. But again, price discovery happens here. So, and I don't see this really ever, let's just say often, where there's a big discrepancy in that this corrective wave to me, this motive wave to me. And these are the simple things that motive means that it's no context for it to be an ending motive. I want to trade in the direction of that. Got me into a trade this morning because of this impulse, which turned out to be a C of some sort. Maybe it's a flat C that ends a B or, an X or something like that. And then we just put in, maybe it's a flat and we need to see. Don't have that ready, but it's just important that I think that this I found was important and still do until it violates that. I think that this is potentially an impulse that you could take advantage of to the long side, even though I've had one that didn't work out today so far. And then I can zoom out and talk more on a larger degree, or
just to hit on that, like that's something that I've been a proponent of for months to years, is making sure you're tracking that CME chart, because it does give a little better clarity. And like I posted earlier today in the Discord, I think that's just likely to do with the fact that there is only one asset you can trade for traditional people to trade Bitcoin, and it's not 30 different exchanges trading the same pair with different styles in the waves, right? So it just gives a little bit more clarity, and it's something that I always check. And just
I think if you have, oh, sorry, I thought you were pausing there. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, just like Toot showed earlier, or in his chart right there, it came down and got that gap, closed it, and now that was also a perfect channel bounce and 618 bounce. So I always take a look at the CME. When for me, the daily on the CME is the most important, because it has over a 95% strike rate of closing gaps. And so that's not something you want to just dismiss as malarkey, I guess, because everybody thinks CME gap is a meme until that gap gets closed and they're like, oh shit, I forgot.
I did it again.
That's huge. That's huge. Yeah. And honestly, like, I didn't even think about that gap this morning, but I will say, like, I've actively looked more, knowing that price discovery still happens there. It's just not where I traded, so I don't look there as much. But, my boy Hove does preach that. And that's the whole reason I brought this up today. I've been watching it, but I'm watching it because of him.
Something else that's, I think, important to highlight. I am a firm proponent that the market is not a scam. Someone didn't manipulate you to take your money. All that stuff. Like, the market moves like the market moves. There's not somebody who's out there like seeing your stops and just running them. You set a bad stop and someone took advantage of you, by and large. But the SEC does at least have some authority over the Bitcoin futures market, as opposed to the unregulated exchanges who they can threaten. And I mean, they can shut them down, but they're, there's a little more teeth behind not running spoofing software behind not just completely manipulating the actual market numbers for fills and liquidity and that sort of thing on a more micro time frame. So I agree strongly with Hove that the daily candles on futures are like, those are important closes and important opens to me. And the first 30 minutes have a big impact on how the price action trades throughout the day, just like it does on futures.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's true.
A
lot
futures,
of times,
but traditional futures like ES and NQ.
Yeah, like so many times I'll go into a day when I'm, say, doing an ES or a Bitcoin update, and like there's uncertainty, but then you see some sort of resolution that you're looking for at that degree, and price moves a specific way, start in the morning, and it's like, all right, well, looks like this is the way it's going to go today, and
it's an up day, it's a sideways day. Like it really does run like from that 8:30 to 4 or 5 o'clock whenever they close. It runs very, very strongly with traditional markets as far as like how it moves for futures, which impacts the rest of the crypto space.
So at this degree, again, we could be finishing a 2/B right now at this level. And based on, like I said, that assuming price discovery happens here, trusting this pattern more than this pattern, the fact they don't agree definitely insert some uncertainty into it, right? But I would put more faith into here, and I think it's important to guard this and not assume that we're definitely getting lower lows, even though if I zoom out some, I've got targets for that. And again, I can zoom out now, or someone else's chart can hit it in before I go there.
Go for it.
All right, so
you're already up there,
and I know we're
go for it.
Oh, the other thing I think about the Bitcoin futures chart is you don't have 2 out of 5 days or 2 out of 7 days of, sideways actions. We get some movement on weekends, but a lot of the time it's just chop on the weekends. And so you can get a little bit cleaner wave count, I think, on the Bitcoin futures market because those weekends are just cut off. They're gone. So maybe you miss out on a little price action information, but I like the way the waves look more on that chart than on a traditional crypto exchange.
Yeah, and that's why I don't like opening new positions on Fridays.
Oh, it's brutal.
I think that carries over from my experience with traditional futures, because I know like that's one of the shittiest days to trade.
They will jerk you around Monday morning. Like whatever you entered on Friday is going to get stopped Monday morning.
Yeah. But it carries over to Bitcoin as well. So oftentimes, like I'll see people waiting for the weekly chart to close or whatever. And I'm like, CME's already closed. That's the weekly chart. Just look at it 2 days before and you've got a 99% chance.
That right there was worth the price of admission today, guys. What did you all pay for this? Oh, damn.
$3.99.
That's right, $3.99. We'll see you guys. Transformtrading.io.
Need about $3.50.
I need to grab some water. I'll be right back.
You and me both. Okay, so at this larger degree, we have shocker. We have some uncertainty, but we have what could be. We're sort of at that point where some decisions will be made, and I think that it's at a spot where it's a good time to fake everybody out. And again, I don't even know what the end. Somebody pull up that fear and greed index. I don't know where we're at in that range. Just talk amongst some of the members. Actually, no, you poll our members. Who knows? Because half of them say up only, and the other half say we're so.
I suspect greed is starting to tick up pretty strongly, though. I mean, you get some of these greed. I think with the way these candles have been over the past, this uptrend you were talking about, that
pull it up real
doesn't
quick.
matter.
You're not on the.
I don't even. Where do I look? What is it?
Just Google Bitcoin fear and greed. Bitcoin fear and greed index.
You mean Brave search? I don't use. No.
Whatever.
I'm just messing with you.
In any event, it's very important because to me, what we see here is potentially a finished zigzag that would have to finish here, or a 1-2-1-2. I would have the one, if I were to do 1-2-1-2, assume where the A is a 1, just so I don't have to draw it with my touchpad. But the second 1-2 going in, so 1-2, and then 1, potentially 2 in here. And that is the count that I think would kind of screw a lot of people over. And that you see at the start of a lot of these bull runs where you get this sort of shallow wave that doesn't give the deep retracement that people want before it goes moon. And that's something I'm very conscious of right now. Now, what will lock in the scenario that my whole bull bias flips on Bitcoin is if we simply break this channel low. And, I can redraw it. I haven't drawn it quite precisely here. I would suggest you do it on your own chart. You decide if you want to use one on the daily here. If you want to use the wick, don't use the wick. Right now I'm using the candle close there. But essentially you break this area, whether, it shoots right down and breaks it over here. That's where I start to flip back to bear expectation just because of basic Elliott wave principles. And my typical base case when I see three, swings that are similar magnitude is a zigzag, because more often than not in markets, they are. When are they not? At the start of a new trend. So this is that context where you will see this, instead of being a zigzag, a 1-2-1-2. Now, if this was at the top of a longer trend, it's probably more of an irregular topping pattern, which is also an educational video coming to you at some point.
I'm excited
probably
for that
right
one.
after this. Yeah, honestly, probably right after this series. It would probably be part of it. I'll probably incorporate it in as a, every pattern in depth. And it's basically a new pattern that no one knows about, except for, of course, Ralph Nelson Elliott, just the people that teach it now, where, of course, I've got my certification. They don't follow it. What?
We'll talk about that more offline, but I think the brief discussions we've had, I tend to agree with you on that situation. It's been discarded as outdated, and in reality, it may not be.
Yeah, it's just very specific. And I've been spending literally the last couple of years sort of refining this and waiting to bring this.
I'm excited. I'm pumped for that.
So I'm pretty much ready. So it'll probably
our
be
fear
the
and greed
last
index is at 51, so no one knows how they feel.
Uncertainty.
Last month was 58 at the top. So, I mean, just hovering in the middle, which is kind of what you want if when you're at this point, it's either reaccumulation or it's distribution, and no one knows yet until there's a dilly one way or the other. And that's how the market
I'm glad
moves.
that it's uncertain, because personally, I don't like using that I don't like to even know what other people think personally, because I don't want to have that.
It influences you whether you try to let it or not. It influences your opinions and your chart.
Yeah, and no matter what anybody thinks, that's where I'm at right now, is that my base case is not this zigzag, is that this is more bullish, and that we, whether we turn, come make a new low relative to this, I think that this holds up, and I'm team bull, unless we break this, and then I will flip, and then, some guy out there on Twitter is going to be like, see, you don't know shit, and it's, okay, you're right, I can't tell the future, but I'll continue to post updates every day that come true. So we'll see. I don't know. That's where I'm at with Bitcoin, basically.
So you're bullish.
Yeah, tentatively bullish. Tentatively.
All right. I'm there is a good argument to be bullish. I'll give it to you, because that move off the low looks pretty impulsive. It also would fall in line with the C of the flat that we have been tracking for months, right? And I think my chart is up now, and what you see in front of you is, if Toots is right and we are bullish, I see it more as a completed one wave than the 1-2-1-2 that Toots is showing. And that's mainly based off of the strength of these pushes and how it's developed in both the oscillators and the volume. Just makes me lean towards this being a fifth of this move rather than another 1-2. If this is correct, I think we get that swift. I posted this a long time ago on Twitter, but I think we get a swift move, and this is our C down into that 20K, 23 support level, 20K, which is also the value area high of this whole range. and a perfect 50 right at that 22K level. There is that CME gap down here. I don't know if that will close, but I think this level would be a good area for a short two, because that would just be a 50 retrace. Let me pull it up. I think it's 20K. 20,300 is that gap.
Yeah. So this is and Hove and I usually agree, and I don't know if people will be frustrated that we don't, but this is one of the times where we are pretty diametrically opposed in that, he's got this as a single impulsive move to this side, and he either has that as a C or a 1, and I have it as a three swing move. And therefore, to meet his bullish expectation retracement, we would then trigger me to be probably bearish. So we're kind of on the opposite ends here, and that's really not common for us. But it just goes to show you that uncertainty.
I pulled up the CME chart because if you look at the oscillators, it just screams to me that this is a fifth wave push rather than a third wave push, mainly based off the strength and the volume. And that's why I lean that way. And I hate to say this, but the primary count I've had since 6 months ago, whenever, was that we would be looking at this expanded flat, and there hasn't been anything to change that quite yet. Yeah, we pushed up pretty much right where we thought we would for a perfect expanded flat. This makes me lean towards an impulse, but one thing I want to point out is the difference in the lows that were made on spot, but not on CME right down here. So spot creates a new low, and then this would be that one wave. CME doesn't. And so it makes me question whether this was an A, B, and then this was a C, and then we have those new lows, or there was just some type of fuckery here, and like this was truncation at the low. It's hard to say. If I look online, it still has a pretty big truncation, so I wouldn't lean towards it.
And it's a pretty clear three wave too. Like that doesn't look like an impulse there, even as a truncation, which I would want to see.
Yeah, it's incredibly, yeah.
It's three waves. No question in your mind?
No question, because of the way prices unfolded until I had more data, right? But it was until it wasn't, right?
Yeah. Right. No, I get what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Until new data.
How did that measure, Hove? You said it measured perfectly for an expanded flat. What it was, like 1.618 there, or I
think it was 1.382 at the low. Let me get back on the candles. Oh, that's a
while you do that.
And
I don't disagree with you in that regard, because that was sort of the area of potential getting. It's just, for me, the way the subwaves unfolded, so that's.
Let me find a blank chart that I can look at. Here. Whatever, we'll just do it here. So that's interesting, because the CME shows that it was a 1618, and
yeah, it's more corrective size on that one.
This is right in that sweet spot of the 1272. You would look for an expansion, and then from the low with the projection,
we're a little past it, but
roughly 2.
That's believable.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little shorter than 2. You would expect this 1618. It gets a little higher into that resistance. I mean, this 33K level is a super important level for me. If we get above that, then I think we're going to start seeing those push for the new highs. But I question whether this is that flat. It makes, man, I believe in my heart, in my gut, that we could potentially, or that we're going to see those new lows. I don't know that for certain. And that's why for both myself and I put this out there for people is to have your long-term spot buying positions at these DCAs and then trade these little swings on either you like take spot positions or leverage trades on lower time frames to make up the difference. I mean, our dollar cost average is up over 45% still. So if it comes down and it gets these DCA levels, eventually our average is going to be that $15,000 level, $15,000 average. And if we're expecting 100K or higher, I mean, it's not going to matter if you're underwater for a little bit when you're at 100K, right?
Well, that's that whole importance also of, understanding the degree.
Yeah.
Exactly. And, yeah. And like you said, at that larger degree, you put those DCAs in, and then, if it hits your level, great. And then you forget about it. Obviously, if something changes greatly at the larger degree, you don't want to just ride it to zero, but, you've got a plan for the lower. And if this is the flat to the upside, it's, at this point, the magnitude of this wave, it would be pretty righteous.
Yeah.
The ensuing impulsive move to the downside.
For the most part, people don't have the time of day to trade this. I mean, you see it just in engagement on Twitter and social media and stuff like that. People have roughly checked out between here, like a year ago, and today. There isn't as many people trading because they had to go back to their normal jobs or had to pay more attention to their normal jobs. And that's why I put this dollar cost averaging chart out there, probably back in early 2000,
since before November.
I mean, this was 2022 before we even broke this 40K level. I talked about if we are going to break this, these are the levels you want to like
grab a little bit.
Yeah, grab it, because most of those people aren't going to be around to watch this shit unfold over the next year, right? Like they have their normal jobs, buy some. And if you don't have the time to manage these swings in between, then your spot position is going to be pretty in the grand scheme of things.
So another little quip from one of our old friends was, first they shake you out, then they fake you out, then they wait you out, which I think this qualifies as the wait you out part. I mean, over a year with price action, I mean, it's a huge range, but really price action is unchanged over, a year.
Yeah, but it's so crazy to me that I always hear people say, like, even now that are, yes, if you're at that larger degree and you don't want to get into the weeds, you're not a trader, that's fine. We got this. That's what the DCAs are for. Then we've got those. We talk about those. But, we're up over 70% this year, 75% basically right now with this red happening. And people are like, prices, it's not that. 75% this year. Like, think if your retirement account went up 75% this year. I'm sure it hasn't.
I mean, crypto traders are, what's the best way? Short-sighted, I'll say. We got used to 30-40% moves that happen over the course of a couple hours, when in reality price doesn't usually develop like that. So when you see like a 20% move, you get the sideways action of probably 10 times the length that it took to do that move. People get complacent and be like, this market sucks. And then right when they close their position, the market starts ripping. They're like, all right, I'm going to open this next one. It's dilly and it's just going to keep going forever. And then it ranges for another 6 months. And they're like, all right, fuck this. I'm getting out. And then it happens again. Dilly.
Yeah. Blame the market instead of yourself, when really at the end of the day, yes, this is difficult. It is hard to do. If it wasn't, everybody would do it. But at the end of the day, if you hold yourself accountable and realize that if you had acted differently, you could have done better, and tried to use that to then build yourself, you just get better at it. I promise. I've done it. We've all done it. Anybody successful has done that. And I think that's one of the biggest things I see on Twitter from people with huge followings is, got stopped out. The market's shit. No, your idea was shit. That's all there is to it. And you
Uh,
have to accept it and move on and not take an ego hit.
I think you're
It's
teaching a
just part of
life
the game.
lesson there. If people will hear it, man, that's what all of life is everything that happens to you, you're responsible for ultimately in the long run. You're the one who pushed buy and sell whenever you're trading. Nobody else did it for you.
And
Yeah.
if you and it's and like somebody like one of the commenters said earlier, cost of tuition. If you look at it as that and learn from it, as instead of being this sucks, I lost money, you know, it's actually you always learn a valuable lesson, and you know I'm learning every day, so trying to help you guys learn too.
All right. So should we move on to XRP? I think I have it on my chart, and I think I'm the one up there, right? And a couple people wanted to see XRP.
Yeah, you're up. Sorry.
All right, cool.
I'm not talking much because I'm death over here.
You guys are always sick.
Well, have some kids, bub.
No, thank you. So, I mean, if you've been following me on YouTube or Twitter or whatever, you've seen my outlook on XRP. We set up this perfect entry for what I forget. That was like 69% or something. Well in advance, like probably like a month in advance, where people got complacent and missed it. But 69% from our low, perfect rejection of our channel boundary. So this is the way that I'm seeing it. And I see somebody 1 through 4 invalid. Actually, it is not invalid. It just means that it's not a impulse. And that is why you have these trend lines of an expanding diag for the C, because you have that overlap. That is why I'm looking at this as that expanding diag, because 3 is larger than 1, 4 is larger than 2, and we get this perfect 50 reaction. So what I'd like to see is a pop above this resistance level, a retest of that, and then we're likely to see a move up above that 69-cent level, probably at this 75-cent level. I have this box here because I've looked at confluences of geometry and fibs and stuff like that. So this is a big area for me. And that's pretty much how I'm seeing it on the micro. I do think I forgot to add this, but this test was also a perfect value area high test. And then we broke above that. So as long as we can break above, let's say this level is 47 on a high time frame close, come back and retest it, then I think we rip to that at least 69-cent level, because it has to go larger than wave 3, and that is 69 cents. So that's my outlook. That's my, I guess, short-term outlook for XRP. Long-term, you should definitely watch my XRP video on the macro, but I will pull it up just real quick. Just don't get too scared, because while I have it as this potential simple zigzag with an expanding diag for C, there is the option. I mentioned this in the YouTube video that I did months ago. That is why I said watch this and don't freak out when I pull this up. This can also be that larger degree triangle where this was wave 3, we're in that 4th, and then we're going to pump to the heavens once this finishes. The reason I don't like the triangle count, and I would rather prefer this as a simple ABC with new lows coming, is because this has already ranged for 5 years. If we pump out of here after 5 years for a 5th wave, we will have a shorter in time bull market than if this develops, gives us more time to give a simple zigzag, and we're off for a wave 3. That'll give you a longer sustained bull market, because if it is 5 years of sideways fuckery and then a 6-month bull market, only to nuke back down to those same levels, people are going to be hurting again. And this is 5 years too long, in my opinion. Bueller.
I can only imagine the move up though. Once it goes,
legendary.
It would so fast. XRP is already the one that just rips when it does move, but yeah, it would 5 years sideways and then get a move to the upside. It would be insane. Likewise, though, if you get the move down and it breaks down, that would suck as well. But ultimately, you'd have a longer sustained move to the upside for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, this also fits in with the Bitcoin macro of a new low coming before we see those new highs. It would fall right in line with it, but that micro fits right here as well. We have to get above that 80-cent level for this expanding diag to be valid. So that's why that's why up here we would have to, where the confluence that I mentioned on the chart would be the area to get to. So for me, that 69-cent level has to happen. In reality, probably that 80-cent level, just so we can validate this idea. Obviously, I can be wrong, but that would be great to see. That is a 50 of this full pull, and that's what we always look for on an expanding diag. And we all know that XRP loves those expanding diags.
And this is your primary?
Yeah, I think so.
And what do you think?
I mean, it's what I would want to happen, mainly because of what I said about the triangle. I think it would be a solid move to the upside, but it would be short-lived.
So that, how much, what percent is that projecting?
To the downside?
To the up.
To the upside, that's another 81%.
So maybe you're a bull on Bitcoin then.
Yeah, I mean, I said that if you are correct, then seeing a move into that 22K level before would be ideal for me.
Gotcha.
And you think,
yeah.
Well, so it'd be like the B wave of the fifth wave kind of for you, or in a likely scenario like that, it would be moving up and then come back and correct while Bitcoin.
Yeah, for XRP. Yeah. So Bitcoin would do whatever it's doing to the upside. It'll allow it to come up a little bit, finish the A wave, retest support for B, and then it starts ripping for C.
Okay. I mean, it's a feasible plan. I do like to look at that though.
I don't personally, I guess I'm going to jump into my little spiel here on XRP. I don't personally like looking at anything at that large of a time frame for me, because I don't know. It just, I trade the two. So I live on the 2-minute chart as far as my trading degree. That doesn't mean that I'm trading 5 times a day. In fact, I might trade maybe less, probably not, but sometimes honestly, five trades in a month, that might happen, but 25, I'm not trading that much, but I like to see patterns unfold in a way that, I can then trade probably. And, that reason I like a lower time frame is because more patterns unfold. So when we're way out here, it's just like, to me, it's just, I don't know. I just, something about the super high time frame, I'm just don't love. Just personally, I do pay attention to it, but like the highest I usually go is like 3-day. So to out here on the weekly with XRP, and then on top of that, I do always preach that you need to know your market, because every market has its own traits. Like we teach Elliott Wave with typically you see this, that, and the other, but with the caveat of that's markets. Now each
you kind of broke
market,
up. Yeah, we're losing you here
you
and
kind
there.
of broke up.
Sorry.
The caveat. What's the caveat?
Well, where was I when I said caveat? The caveat of each individual market has its own market traits. Okay. And so, while maybe I don't want to get into specifics of rules and guidelines, but you have to know your market and the market behavior. And that market behavior might change in a bear scenario or a bull scenario. And XRP is such a perfect example of that because it acts so differently when it's bearish and bullish, or moving and not moving is really what you could say. And to me, it's an incredibly hard market to track because it's very singular, it's very unique. And, you can, if you just live on this chart, I think you can definitely use Elliott wave and all that great on it. I don't personally. When I chart this, I just look for those little patterns that I can find and sort of anchor the way. I don't like the project. So I don't like trading it. But on my chart, I have seen, and this is almost just like a little dichotomy of Bitcoin of what could potentially, Hove shows this as maybe a potential expanding diagonal. This is 4, maybe it's a 1-2-1-2, not sure. Again, if it breaks the space channel, that's where I go bear. And you see that I have 2 scenarios lined up here, and I haven't opened this chart in quite a while, but showed back here, and I honestly didn't know it even bounced there right at that MZ as a C or a 3 finishing there. To me, it looks much more C than 3, but this is a temporary channel, which this backside here is a nice price projection, minimum price projection for a wave 4 to potentially end, and maybe even just the A of the 4, something like that. And it gets more sideways knowing this, it could in a more bearish scenario, but we get out of this channel, then you get much more bullish. So that's where I'm at. Basically, it's either a zigzag or a 1, 2, 3 to this level on the 4-hour chart. And it was a great trade here because you had both the bear and the bull going with you. Definitely know Hove highlighted that one, didn't you, for the guys?
Yeah, I mean, I've been all over this for quite a while. It's not my favorite asset to trade. It's not my favorite asset to trade, but I do it because I know some of our members like to trade it, and then people always ask for it on Twitter or YouTube. So
I'm pretty sure you were big on this pivot.
I don't remember. I do so many updates. I didn't take that on leverage.
Okay. Well, in any event,
it was a great up here.
It was a great idea right here to long, but just like I said with ES, just kind of like Bitcoin's a little different right now, but it's more like ES. Now that idea is kind of over, and it's kind of wait and see. Do we get up out of here and turn into that more bullish scenario like Hope is showing, or do we come down and look more bearish? So that's where I'm at. It was a good opportunity. Right now, it's sort of let's chill and see what it does. But yeah, XRP is definitely like I don't like this chart personally.
My voice
as an analyst.
My voice could probably handle enough to talk about how I trade XRP. It moves extremely quick, and then when it is consolidating, it just lulls you to sleep. So here's a little bit of Monty magic, I guess, of how I use it. So if these are speed fans, and you can see that if I get these right on, and I'm using the daily chart or the daily line chart just because of how crazy wicks it can get. But if you'll see here, this is kind of how if it's under this, it's not going to move. It's just going to chop. It's going to move up. It's going to create new lows. This is the MZ speed fan. You can see that's the golden zone as well here. So that ripped up, tagged the MZ and nuked to here. But then once it got out of this, it retested, and that's where you got the powerful move up. Here was just a move up, but then it came back because it was out, and I guess it could have continued to go up. But here's how I do it. I'm on the daily. So trading this thing on the low time frame, you're going to get eaten up because when it goes through resistance, it does not care. Like there is no resistance when this thing's moving to the upside. It just completely ignores it. And so one thing I'm looking at right now is if we get this right on there, I kind of ignore it until it gets to these interesting levels. And if you'll see here, we broke out here, and now we've consolidated here, poked out, and we've retested almost perfectly. So I do think the upside here is more likely. And you can also see here can see how we're out both of them, right? These are resistance here, resistance there, hit her head again, and then it just consolidated. If you put the golden zone even on it, you can see we consolidated behind it, popped up, tested it sideways. There's no more resistance, at least for the speed fans, until you get much higher, because then you have to pull lower. So then you start to pull down here, and you can see now where I've got this alarm. It's a zero line retest for a money pull, but that's about $1.10. And I think if we can rip up, I think we could potentially squeeze all the way up into here. Of course, we might only get to the golden zones.
That's way up there.
I mean, that's 90 cents. I mean, that's pretty far up there, but it's just, you never know. It may squeeze it. If you're going to get that powerful move down, the best way to do it is to get everyone screaming for bull market. And then it rips down. And you can see here kind of, if it were to pop up in here, you'd have a perfect short opportunity for the way I trade. Now it may not get there.
That's huge. But I think you're burying the lead for the short. Like, that's a huge move to the upside.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 100%, but some coins have done that in the last 2 weeks. If you look at them,
who cares about 100%, man? Come on, we're talking real money here.
Right.
Okay.
But I mean, that's just how I trade this, because I mean, if you're under this, like, it gives good moves, but you want to be here for the huge moves. If not, you're just going to get chopped up because, it's moving, and then it's rips back to entry.
And I know there's probably a lot of you that don't know what Monty is doing right here, but I assure you this shit pays, because every time like member will ask for a chart and Monty does his, I'll do mine as well. And there's always a overlap of confluence between the charts, and it almost to the cent. It's crazy to see. And then when Monty will post his charts and then update it, and it's to the tick of his Monty zones, and it's so beautiful to see. I need to learn it better, because if I can add that to just mine without having to ask Monty to give me his chart, I'm be a money maker, print it all day.
Yeah. I don't know why it works. That's why I call it magic, and it does work, and I don't care why, and I hope it always works. And I think the fact that I can't explain it is kind of why it works, because then you know not everyone can take it. They kind of have to make it their own. But I mean, the move up was crazy on XRP, but I mean, if you would just take my initial, what I would pull, that would be the money pull, and I would want to see an MZ. And I think even if you do this one,
I think it works because you dedicated so much time in figuring out the best level for those stop runs.
Right.
Because
liquidity is how the market moves. You want that.
Yeah. You saw that the 6.5 was getting taken out on every swing over the last few years in crypto. And you're like, well, this doesn't make sense to have your stop at the 6.5 if it's getting taken out. So, I mean, you spent months, if not a year, developing this stuff. So it basically is what we do. What I say we, Toots and I do with the measured move, but with your own tweak to it that finds the better exit points and better entry points. And that's why I'm like, if I can,
it's kind of like knowing the specifics of your market, just like Tootin was talking about. It kind of applies to more than just Elliott Wave, I think.
Yeah, and it's an edge that nobody knows.
I've got a free membership to Transform. Yeah, I've been learning the Monty stuff too, and it's my charts. I've been incorporating it into. I'm slow to incorporate anything new ideas into what I do, but it's I mean, you see the MZ on almost all my charts now.
It's making the cut, isn't it? And I've seen a few of those pitchforks thrown on there too. in creative ways.
Well, I've been using
creative ways.
I've been using pitchforks a lot. Yeah. I mean, I still primarily just use pitchforks the way Alan Andrews taught it, but also something Monty preaches is this something that I'm vetting out now is the well, we won't even get into it, but another creative use of a pitchfork that can identify and the completion of other moves. So definitely doing that. Yeah, it definitely. And yeah, the way Erie, I actually, you've definitely influenced me with your pitchforks for, moves that I'm into that I don't necessarily feel great about, maybe targets, in that maybe that I don't think they'll make them, or if they do make them, I think it might have room to use pitchforks. You do in that regard. Won't get into that in detail here either, but yeah, definitely.
I guess all that to say, we do have our own unique styles, but we 100% learn from each other and from our members, and I think it makes us all better. And that's really how we ended up doing this whole thing in the first place, is that we've worked together enough and learned our own strategies, but we also learn from each other, and we wanted to make that community larger of competent people who can trade well. So here we are, and we're looking for you guys to join us so that we have that community of people who are talented and good traders who make money. Because the more we work together, the easier it is.
That's the dream, right? That's the dream for us.
I mean, we're still recruiting.
Here's the end goal for us is, for me, and I think that we talk about this all the time. So I know that you guys are all live stuff is to have this community of killers, that, because we can't have eyes on everything. And then you guys are vetted in that you've learned what we do. So we know that what you're doing, you're a killer. So, hey, check this out. I've made plenty of money this year on trades that members have shown me, like a chart I thought we might get into, but we probably won't now, like C3AI.
You've been riding that forever.
That one, yeah. Now I've been on it since then. But a member showed it to me right at an entry. Took it that day, and I was up I 3x the position, within a couple of days. That thing trades like a crypto. Anyway.
Sorry, guys. I mean, honestly, we're really just hanging out here. So I'm glad that you guys are deciding to stay with us. I know that we're not just banging out the charts, but we really do enjoy being around each other, talking with each other, and you guys too. So throw some more things in here that we can maybe try to slip in before we hit our 2-hour limit.
This is also how all our meetings go, by the way.
It is. Yeah.
They're like, we're just going to spend 15 minutes talking and get this shit out of the way. Like 2 or 3 hours later, we're still talking about charts and all this other shit.
We're not even supposed to talk about charts.
No.
Let's get into should we get to gold?
Yeah, let me mention my chart here that's up there.
Oh, yeah.
The one that I've posted on Twitter multiple times, but these are the Monty forks, and so that's what you're seeing is shifts, insides, outer parallels. But this was the bank, right? The week that the banks broke, basically. And so I was hoping we would kind of have that running flat that we push up, but we got the move down, and it's an exact 50 to the tick with that parallel. We moved up and distributed a lot longer, but we're really in as the guy said, a deciding zone of it's going to figure out one way or the other soon, because you can't hang out down here and just shoot out of here. You got to gain it pretty quickly. This inside median is right. I mean, we're right at it. We're almost losing it right now. This is my first order of, if we hold, this zero line right here needs to hold. So 25.2. And then trying to think, I think I just basically pull this right here. No, I don't remember exactly, but it's an MZ retest basically that would come back. And we need to hold that. Here it is. It's this one. We need to hold somewhere in here for me to be bullish for that move up, right? If we're going to get this bull run out of here, it needs to hold that zone for me. And I put that on Twitter, that this is the most important zone for me. If we lose this, I think we're coming back here to this 17, probably 17.8, I think is what I had. And that was basically just a full the full MZ right there. I mean, you can see too with this pull, you've got an algo there, which it's not a legit algo, not how we would trade it, but
if you guys are interested in what he's doing here, he mentioned that he tweeted this a few times. Follow at Transform Trading. That's Monty. He'll post up stuff from anything from the Discord, everything, because it's the official. But if you want to see more of this stuff, check out his Twitter, or check out at Transform Trading on Twitter, or join us.
Join us, because I do actually I've shared most of my alpha on our website. So if you like it, I'm teaching it for a short time. It will be actually going away to another tier. So if you're wanting to get this and kind of learn how I do it and why it works, go ahead and join. But anyway, I'll move it. I'll move it over to you, and you're going to do gold.
Me?
Yeah. Is that what you want to do?
Sure.
Now?
Sure. I think that was on our list, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
So
I got a crying kid. I'm going to have to mute myself here.
Am I up?
Yes.
All right. So to be honest, I've kind of soured on gold. I was digging it. It's been moving quite well, but I've soured.
Don't show me that. Yuck.
Yeah. I've soured on it a bit because it's just been upsetting me. But I'll be honest, the price action that we've seen since this has been on the chart, I really honestly haven't even looked at it since this X was drawn here. I don't necessarily think there's any reason to change this idea this moment, but I've kind of soured on gold. And right now we're breaking through this channel, which is for a potential to have a flat in there, which those aren't that reliable anyway. We've knifed. Let me zoom in so you guys can see. We've knifed through this 50 with zero care about it. Taking this 618 on the pitchfork level down. Basically, we're breaking support. And right now, while it's get down even lower here, while it's not for long, currently consolidating under it. And the longer you last under it, the less you love it. Extension pull here. So really, honestly, I could pull this down to there. And that's probably more appropriate. We had profit take there on the measured move, perfect 618, 236. So yeah, really you do want it here. I would like to see this thing really start to exhaust. Let's see, which it has not started doing at all yet on the oscillator at this degree. I want to see it exhausting into these levels. And there's really, because this is at best a sideways, you're not going to necessarily be able to get some of the confluences we'd like to see. Honestly, like I said, I haven't looked at this really since I drew here, but now I'm starting to think we have a flat going in, and this Y target at the let's say the bearish idea, this Y target should still be well in play, because it all hinges on basically this doesn't look like an impulse, right? I mean, it's hard to objectively call this an impulse. I think Hov and I both agree on that. And we're both gold bugs, so when we both can find it in our hearts to say, man, that doesn't look good, it's probably not looking good, right? But what I do see here is that it's 3 to the upside, and then we put an actionary leg in. So this is unresolved. So, we could still see, and this is just kind of floating here, right? So the actual, actually there's should this measured move, and went perfect to this one. So I guess, 2,100, still quite a nice move for gold coming up, $100. And this does look like it could be finishing a sideways sort of. I don't know if it's 3 to there, but sort of sideways finishes up there, put an impulse down, but we would still need to see, I would say, maybe something like this. Maybe like get this, maybe that's here.
Diag of some kind, starting over there on the left, between March and April. No, too far.
March and April.
Yeah, like right in that. Yeah, like right in there. I mean, it's a little big for that B.
This?
Yeah, it's a little big
diag?
for B. No, so I didn't mean to say diag. Expanding flat is what I meant. I'm sorry.
Yeah, something like that potentially. Yeah,
ABC.
Yeah, 3 to the upside. Yeah, I mean you don't get, but you do sometimes see this where you have a greatly expanded B wave. Could be an irregular topping pattern in which you would
Don't spill
we'll
the
really
beans.
see
Don't spill the
a lot
beans.
more downside. Yeah, but I wouldn't think that this is a great spot for that. Could be. I'd have to look at it differently. But I do think in a, let's say, bull/bear confluence scenario, maybe something like this blue line, take it with a grain of salt. Maybe it comes down to here. I like it more in here, although we have a lot of nice little support up in here. So yeah, maybe something like this.
And that could be a nice little trade for
And
a
then,
few months going to the upside, no matter what it does there,
yeah,
whether it's all-time highs or correction
then
still.
you'd have to be careful, because this,
Yeah.
I would love to be wrong on this, but it comes back to something that we can anchor ourselves on, and it's that this just sure doesn't look like an impulse. Could in these markets we see weird little impulsive moves like that. I would need to see this not look like the same. If this is finishing 5 waves where this X is drawn, that algo target, yeah, that's going to feel bad. Now, if it's not even close to finishing and it's just expanding through, great, more bullish. But I think I'm kind of feeling this. What
I
about
think
you,
that's a
Hope?
reasonable projection for the next few months.
Do you have a chart on this?
I
I
do
would think
not
if
have a
anybody does,
chart,
I
but
would think if anyone does, you do.
I don't need a chart. I just buy it, man.
So I'll give the other perspective, but I agree with you that initially this was looking good, and then the price action developed how it did, and it doesn't have the right look. But if Monty has flipped to my screen, I'm just going to give you the bear or bullish option, since Toots has already covered the bearish one.
Do you agree with me that in a bear scenario, it looks like we probably have another upswing?
Yeah. I mean, the way you have it labeled, it fits similar to what I'm saying with this potential diag being finished, because it looks like an ABC into your W, and now that move off the low from the X looks pretty good, and then you have that sideways chop at the top that is just ugly. But I think you could definitely make the argument for that sideways style correction, and then another move up for the C of that X wave, right? Or Y wave, sorry. But the bullish alternative to that is ugly. And it would be, this was either a completed diag, which I'll get on a lower time frame just so you can see what I'm talking about. Would be a completed diag here to where you have the 1, 2, 3. You do get that overlap, and then you have this fifth up here. And now we're getting an expanded flat for the 2 of whatever move that is. So let me go ahead and pull that. So it'd be something like this. Fucking thing, it doesn't work.
Hey, did I curse today yet?
I think I've cursed a lot today, which I don't normally do.
Hope broke the family friendly.
We can't even get paid anyways. So something like that, or it's a larger degree still developing diag, because it's got it finally just broke that level today. And then we'll get a retrace. But what I'm looking for on a higher time frame is, regardless of whatever price action this is, a move into support at this value area high at roughly 1900, as well as this big support level that we're in now. That would be my first area that I would look for that support. Otherwise, I think we'll get a flush down pretty low, probably 1880-ish. And I'll look at the reaction of these fib levels to go from there. POC is all the way down at 1800, but I'm just giving you the bullish argument since Toots already covered the bearish one. And I don't love this count, but it is there. And it hurts my heart to think that corrective structure to the upside looks better than the bullish structure to the upside, because that means silver is gonna follow along. And I guess I'll just go into silver real quick. I'm following this in hopes that we have an expanding diag on silver, and we're in that B of the C of the fifth to the 28 level before a retrace for the 2. So that's what I'm looking at. I would rather it be bullish, but I can definitely see the argument that Toots is putting forward. It ain't pretty. That's for sure.
I've kind of got the same WXY idea for silver as well.
I assume you would.
Yeah, not to get. I don't think it's important to get into, but
You're up, so go ahead.
Oh, am I? Oh, I wasn't going to get into it. Basically, I haven't even looked at this chart. I haven't looked at this chart in even probably longer than gold. Let's see. Well, it looks like this idea was solid. But yeah, I mean, really, there's just no difference to WXY or some crazy one, I guess, to here 1 2 1 2. Yeah, and it could still be either one, but
it's definitely not what you want to see if you're bullish. Like while prices,
I'm seeing that expanding diag look that you're talking about too, by the way.
While price is appreciating, the structure implies that it's corrective more than impulsive. Because if you look at the history, when gold moves, it's pretty much like straight up a little trend sideways, straight up a little trend sideways. This is a lot of overlapping chop, which you wouldn't expect to get in a trending move.
Yeah. If it was an expanding diag would be up at like $30, $31 on silver, you would think, like, because it would probably do something like, for expanding diag, you want it to be like this, something like maybe, I don't know. I don't want to get into the weeds too much here, but if that's 1 to there, and then so 3-wave subwave structures, and then something like that. That's where.
Yeah, that's exactly how I had it.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. That'd be great. That would be great. I mean, it's been a laggard. Like, I think fundamentally that's supported, but we don't talk about that here or care about that. So,
I mean, just looking at the gold to silver ratio, it looks like it's impulsive off the low from, what is that, 2021. It got a nice impulse off the low. I don't know if my screen's being shown, but it retraced to a perfect 618 and then is kind of just testing that same 50 at 79%. So it kind of looks like it'll continue to lag, but I think it eventually gets up to that 104 level. That's the gold to silver ratio, by the way, where it topped at 127-ish back in 2020. It kind of just looks like we're going to get that upside move potentially like that to the 104 level before finally rolling over. And I only brought that up because you were talking about how it's been a laggard, and this kind of explains why it's lagging in the chart.
I wonder, looking at this move that we're talking about, just like that WXY on gold, I could still see a test of this like $30 high that we had back in 2021 or 2020
on silver.
That $30, yeah, on silver. Like, just if we could even be putting a reactive wave in to test that high before we come down in a final action area of a large sideways corrective of some sort for that. So there's a lot of support for that. Still $30 on silver, which is a nice run up from here. Just like $100 is a nice run up gold, but we were kind of hoping for more it was kind of hoping for bull porn at this point, and it's not really there yet.
Yeah, $100 silver, bring it.
Right. So, but the good thing about that is okay. So now, at least in my estimation, the bull and the bear side, there's a case that soon, when this down wave finishes, that we, as a corrective without, let's say, significant more downside to take out any major lows or anything, that we'll have another upswing, and both bullish and bearish scenarios are supporting that. So you can use that to your advantage. Oh, okay. Maybe you won't get your $100 silver, but if you got silver at 20 and it goes to 30, that's pretty good, right? So, yeah.
Do y'all want a Monty chart on gold? It's scary.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
Oh, no. Not if it's scary.
Scary what?
We're about to hit 2 hours too. So whatever we're going to do, I think maybe call this the last one, unless somebody.
Well, I'll let you decide.
I'll go as long as you guys want, but I feel like
No,
are we wearing people out? How's our viewership? 27.
We're
I
at
mean,
27,
it's staying strong.
right.
I mean,
So
I did ask if anybody had any last minute requests, and O said, "Do you see a case for BTC where the move to 31K was a WXY wave 4? The move to 31 was a WXY wave 4."
so what we've had just happened. We're still in an impulse down from the high. Is that what you're saying? Letter O.
We'll let him respond here in just a second. But so if you're looking at my
Yeah,
screen,
you could show your gold. Yeah,
it's
I gotta think of this.
I posted it in discussion since y'all can't see mine, but I'm on a 2-week chart and I've got the low at literally $20. I mean, it's the line low.
Whenever they took us off the gold standard.
Yep. And then I went up to 812, which was 2000 was 1980. And then we have successfully tagged 2 algos from that. And you can see on this last one, first one tagged it, consolidated, tagged it again with the deeper move, and then we swept, which is never a good sign when you sweeping highs and you dump at an algo. Also, if you're looking at a 2-week chart, this is not pretty. I don't know if you guys can see. So,
Can kind of see it.
I'm watching it on the stream.
Yeah.
But if we lose 1934, we lose that second algo. We still have this fan here, speed fan. It's the MZ. You can see we've hit it 1, 2, 3, and it just depends on how fast we hit it here.
That's wrong.
So
Triple top on triple divergence.
yeah, I mean on 2 weeks. I mean, so obviously there's a lot that can
frame.
happen on a high time frame, but I mean even on the weekly.
I will say, when that fails spectacularly. And when I fail, I mean failing to the upside, because
Correct.
that is a bearish
Oh,
signal.
yeah. It'll go.
Yeah.
My
Go
thing
to
is
3,000.
the sweep of the high is scary. Tagging the MZ this many times is scary. And
But tagging that top level so many times, meaning if we come back and test it again,
yeah,
that could be quite, and get through it, that could be quite bullish.
so this is a Monty fork and it's from the very low. And you can see how I'm trying to not move it so fast so you can't. Just you can see here median there. We came under, failed, and now we've retested these levels here. So losing this 1750, I just don't think we can get under 1750 ever again, because then you've got a lot further fall to 1300s to 1400. You lose those. I've got a zero line at 812.
I don't know how we get gold back that low again, but I mean,
Yeah.
Just that's not technical analysis talking. It's just me talking.
Right. No, it could be. This is also a weekly chart, and these sometimes don't always play out.
But the dollar's going to zero.
Yeah.
That's what it says.
We'll take the whole. I'm a dollar bear ultimately, but we'll take the whole world with us before it goes to zero.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a near-term dollar bear, I should say.
Okay.
That would just be, when looking at that, no part of me is bullish, I guess, just unfortunately, because
I mean, it looks kind of, to me, it looks like a flat. I was not bullish. Like
You said it looks bullish, or you said it looks bearish?
I said nothing. No part of it looks bullish to me. The way I look at things. No, I mean we're breaking every parallel we've tagged, tested,
losing levels
at algos. If we can't hold,
I mean, I can definitely see it as a 3-wave move to the high. Like, I don't. It looks like a 5-wave move down, really, from the previous high back in like 2008, but it obviously couldn't have been. So we've got a 3-wave move down, and it looks like a 3-wave move up, maybe currently. So we could have a giant flat going on or something, some kind of sideways for the next 10 years.
But and you should never, let's say, bet on this because it fails more often than not, and that's why it's very reliable. But when a divergence like this does fail, it's super bullish. So, but we're at resistance, man. We're at resistance.
Yeah, everything seems to be everything's at resistance is what I feel like the theme of this live stream has been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see any requests coming in, so I mean,
I can answer Rose' question real quick. And so to answer that, yes, absolutely. In the bearish scenario where I said if this were to break, that I would flip bear, it would be that this is a wave 4 completing, right? So you can go back to Hove's count where he thinks this is an impulse to this high, and then you just call it flat. Sure, you want to call it a sideways WXY, technically you're not supposed to have 2 actionary zigzags, although this could probably be a flat. Matter of fact, you could call this a sharp sideways here with this being a deep B. So A, B, C to this W. But let's just say it's a zigzag. Yeah. According to EWI, you can't have 2 actionary and a double sideways zigzags. But in sneak peek to the Sensei Tutum, every pattern in depth, that's a rule that I call one of the rules that I don't believe EWI has right. So however you want to call it, could it be a wave 4 to there? Absolutely. And if it is that bearish scenario that locks in and brings us to new lows, I would call it that. A wave 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, something to keep in mind is that I believe this would be an extended wave 1 in that scenario, because I don't think, well, see, here we need to go to log, right? So in it is even in standard, and log, is it? It's got to be right. No, in log it's not, but in standard, wave 1 is longer. So in real terms, wave 1 is longer. Percent, check percent, because that's important. Shoot. Touchpad here, guys. Oh my God, fail. All right, so that is 51%, and this is there 62%. So in percentage, it's longer, but it's quite a long 3. So I would suspect that the 5th wave should be shorter in real terms than either one of those waves. And, you often see that anyway, but it could be much shorter. And we've had so much move here, that 5th wave come down to this like 100, that's 11K. It's not great, but yeah, that in a bear scenario at this point with that much move up, I would suspect that this is the range, right in here that we would test. But yeah, to answer your question, absolutely. I don't put it, again, I'm on the bull side, 60-40. So this would be the 40. It's kind of dire. So we're going to hope that doesn't happen. And I don't think it will, with 20% headroom. I don't think it will. So meaning, 60% more is 20% more than 40% bear. So that's my personal, but yeah, to answer your question, yep, could be a 4. And in the bear scenario, I believe it is. No other last seconds?
Oh, I mean, I feel like this was awesome. We didn't cover a ton of material, but I like another one. Like everyone we do is better than the last, I feel like. So,
and they go so fast, even though it's been 2 hours.
2 hours, dude. It feels like it just blew by. And Alejo's still with us, man, all 2 hours. Like, props to you, man. I appreciate it. Like,
yeah. Absolutely. Everybody to hear.
Yeah, when you guys show support like that, like you can always reach out to us on Twitter or whatever.
Yeah,
with questions, and we'll
help you out. Like we
show love back for sure.
I was about to say we need to give Alejo like a 1-month membership or something for that kind of dedication. Like that's damn loyalty right there. If he's not already in there, and I just don't recognize the real name. But yeah, reach out to us on Twitter somehow. One of us will take care of you some way, shape, or form. Like
The other thing,
at Rexus82, at
yeah.
Sensei Tudum, at Sensei Hove, at Transformed Trading.
Yeah. The other thing I forgot to mention at the beginning of this is we are doing a discount on the Market Masters on our yearly. So I think we normally give it like 2 months free for a yearly. We're giving it a $300 off that yearly that's live now. So if you want to take advantage of those low prices and you get that educational content, then make sure to sign up today because it's only going to last until the end of the weekend for that $300 discount or whatever. So make sure
it's a discount on a discount. Is what he's saying.
Discount on a discount.
Which I firmly opposed, and I was overridden. No.
So not no. Actually, yes.
I mean, I said, let's not do that, guys. And then everybody's like, let's do it. And I'm like, all right, fine.
We just want more in the Army, baby.
They love you guys. I love you guys too. So great. I mean, really, I felt like this was an awesome live stream. It is easier and easier every time. So thank you all for showing up and staying with us, though. Is there any last minute things any of y'all want to say?
Last second request. Oh, me or request?
Yeah, you too. I mean, anything, any words of wisdom you want to impart?
I'm stoked to get these. I'm stoked to right now. I'm fired up to I've been sitting on so much educational content for a long time, and I'm kind of fired up to be dedicated to it right now. So
I say, you guys, you actually said something that I want to point out to all the people who are watching and are going to watch later. Tudum is at the point right now with his Elliott wave skills. You did hear what he said, where he's like, I think EWI has it wrong. And he has a credible reason why he believes that. There are not a lot of people that you could trust to say, I don't follow EWI rules. They don't make any sense. Because they're idiots and they don't know what they're doing. Tudum has actually done the study. He's gone back to the original works and he has researched this. So his logic, even if you disagree with it, is sound. And I cannot wait to hear about it personally because he hasn't even shared it with us.
And he's also not saying that EWI doesn't know what they're talking about.
No, not at all.
Exactly.
There's just a couple little things that they diverge on or differ on.
They have self-proclaimed themselves the authority, which for good reason, nobody else has taken the mantle, and they do a good job of making a uniform rule set. But we have someone who is
do a terrible job of communicating that. And most of everything that I'm teaching you is, and I very well stipulate, look, this is where I diverge. And this is my take on these things, and here's why. So, and I'll go into it in the videos, but yeah, you have to EWI is great. But they're old.
Yeah.
So
my point is there are not a lot of people who understand this theory well enough to even debate the merits of any individual rule or guideline. And we have one of them with us.
Yeah, I don't do it lightly.
So Tudum is he's very humble, but he is I'm gonna go on a limb. He's a top 10 Elliott wave expert. We're all excellent traders and analysts, but he's a top 10 specifically Elliott wave expert in the world. Prove me wrong.
I don't know where
Prove
those
me wrong.
come from.
It's me. I pulled them out of my ass, but somebody find me 10 guys who are better than you, and I'll change my mind.
Well, there's one guy on Twitter that just told me I don't know what I'm talking about. So
well, you clearly don't, but that's Twitter. So in the real world,
I'm at least 9 below him.
All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I know it makes Tudum uncomfortable talking about him like that, but he doesn't do it for himself, so somebody has to, and here I am.
Yeah, well, hopefully you guys like the content. I'm excited to make it. So,
all right, guys.
Good stream, guys. Thanks for joining us and sticking around. We appreciate it. Big time.
I'm gonna pull the plug here.
Yep, 2 hours and 38 seconds. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time. Reach out to us if you want to talk to us.